Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to change the bearings in your Mavic XD Freehub body. So let's go ahead, let's run through the steps. Right, so here we have the hub. It's a Mavic, it's ID 360 hub, so it uses a ratchet in the back. So what you've got is, and this is for SRAM XD cassettes. So what we need to do first is undo the lock ring in the top there with the 5 holes in it. So I'll just go ahead, I'll show you the best way to get that out. Right, so we've got a voice here. What I've done is I'll just put 2 blocks of wood in it. Now I'm showing you like this so you can do it at home yourself. That is if you haven't got a pair of soft jaws that will fit in the voice. So I'm using a couple of blocks of wood. So what we do is we clamp that in there because the bodies themselves are aluminium. So what happens is they'll get damaged very easily. So what you want to do is use a couple of blocks of wood or soft jaws like I just showed, and then you can clamp it in there and it bites into the wood and it's not going to do it no harm. So just nip that up, so it's clamped it. And then to undo the ring, you can either get yourself a small punch and just locate it on one of the holes like that, and then just tap that round like so to undo it. Or another way, you can get yourself a pair of angled circlip snap ring pliers, open them up and put them in 2 of the holes like that, and then undo it anti-clockwise. That's if it's not too tight. Or you can get the Mavic hub tool with the little pins on it. You purchase one of them to undo it with, but like I said, you don't necessarily need one. So you can use a punch and you can just tap it undone with that anti-clockwise. Just tap it round. Once it goes, it will be undone, so it should move. If it doesn't, then just carry on tapping it around like that. Or like I said, you can get your pliers. Now I've undone it, you can just locate them in there like that and undo it like that. So it hasn't got many threads on it, so just a case of keep on undoing it until it comes out. Like that. So there it is removed. So we'll move on to the next step. So once you remove the lock ring, you've got a little washer there that's underneath it. So you put that to one side, and then what we need to do is just undo it from the vise. You see there, you see the bearing in the end quite clearly. So what you need to do is put it either upturn it in the vise and then clamp it like that to hold it, or put it on a block of wood on a hard surface, and if you see down inside there, you see the bearing down inside, so you can hit on the inner race of the bearing in there and knock it out. So I'll just show you that. Right, so we got a block of wood on the floor on a hard surface. So you can use a vise if you want to. I'll show you like this so you can see it a bit easier. So down inside, like I showed, you got the bearing in there. So what I'll do is just locate the punch down so it's touching the bearing so you can see it easily down in there, and then you just want to hit it out even, so just a crisscross pattern and it start coming out. Don't hit it out all on one side, you'll hit it out crooked. Just give it a tap like that and just move the punch. It won't take a lot to remove it, just a few hits. There's the bearing. Then you've got the sleeve inside, the spacer. It comes out, and then you can see the bearing down in the bottom. Down in there. One down in this end. See that? So we can remove that one. So to remove the one in here, you can see the edge of the bearing sat there. This is where the ratchet will go. So what you want to do is stand it on your block of wood again, and then you can see it there. So you can just gently tap that down. once you got it unseated from in this end, it'll drop down inside, so it's loose in there like that. You can see it'll just drop down in there. So what you got to do is locate it on the other end, because it's the same size as that bearing that you just removed. So if you locate it there and get it started, then you can carry on and tap it out through where you just removed the other one from. Right, so once you located the bearing in the bottom and you got it started off square, then you can carry on and tap it out, same as before. Not quite. There you go. So there's one that was up in where the ratchet is, the opposite end there, so that's come through, and now we knocked it out at the bottom. So now you've got an empty Freehub body, 2 bearings and a spacer removed in there. So now you can get everything cleaned up. If yours is all full of rusty water or dirt like they always get over time, then you can get it all cleaned up in there, degrease it, make sure the threads are clean up in the end here. Clean those out properly, little wire brush if you have to, make sure they're properly clean. Then we're ready to reinstall a couple of new bearings. Right, so we got the Freehub body cleaned up. Now what you want to do is get some grease and put it down inside where the bearing's going to sit in the bottom there. Just put a smear of grease round in there to start with, because that's the bearing we're installing first. Now the bearings are 2 different sizes, they're the same diameter around, but when you look at them, as you can see there, they're different. Now the one we're installing first down inside there is a 6803Z bearing. So what we want to do with that is note the way that it goes in, same way when you removed it, so the opposite way, note which way it come out when you took yours out. So just put some grease around it to help it get started in there and stop it getting stuck in there at a later date when you want to put a new set in. And then we'll sit that in the top there like so, because then it needs to go down through to get down inside the hub in the bottom. So to that, what we use to knock that in is a socket like that. So that's a 19mm socket, so a 3/8 drive socket, and that rests on there, and that's exactly the same size as the outside of the bearing. Never hit where the seal is on the bearing, because you'll damage it before you've even put it in. So that is exactly the same size as the outside diameter of the bearing. So once you've located it and got it started by hand there, then what you can do is, I'm just going to tap this in. You're not hitting it hard, you're just literally tapping it in. So we'll tap it through and then it'll fall inside the Freehub. Then we'll have to do it again to actually seat it in the bottom. So you'll just feel it going down through, just tap it around, make sure it's going in square, not at an angle, crooked. And it's fell down inside like that. You can see it now, it's just floating in there, like that. So then we can seat it into the bottom. So what you want to do is just push it in with your finger to get it started into position, down in there. Once you got it started, then it's the same thing again with the socket. Rest that down in there again on top of the bearing, and then just tap it round again. And the note will change when you hit the bottom, so you know it's gone all the way in. Just turn it over and check, make sure that it's gone in. You see it there, it's level all the way around. So that's that bearing installed down in the bottom. Now we do the one in the end here. So what you want to do is just put a smear of grease round in there, like that. And then what you want to do, get your spacer, it's in there. And drop that down in position, like so. So you must make sure that the bearing is fully located in the bottom, because when you slide that spacer in, if it's not all the way in, then you'll see that it's not right where the seat of the bearing is. So when you hit this bearing in, it won't be seated in there properly. Right, so we just put some grease around the outside of the bearing again, like so. And then we've got the spacer in place, so we just offer that bearing up like that and just drop it in. And then same thing again, just tap it in place with your 19mm socket again. So we have it installed. So what we do is put the washer back on the top, like so, just hold that in place. And then we get the lock ring. What you want to do with that is just put a bit of grease around it, like so. And then get that started in there, just rest it in place like that. Just start it off. Make sure that that washer that you put in is lined up with the middle of the bearing as you're putting in the lock ring. And what you want to do then is just get your circlip pliers, your snap ring pliers, and then we can just tighten that down in there, making sure that that washer in the middle is lined up with the bearing. So what you can do is tighten that down and then just nip it up, hold on to the Freehub, the pliers, and just turn it, just lock that down like so. And that's that. That's the bearings installed. So you just check it, put on your finger, make sure they spin okay, feel them like that, and that's the installation complete. So that's the end of the video, so I hope you found it helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.